The following is a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. The subject is the emotional aspect of the crown chakra in Scorpio. And the date is 12th of November 2020. I am. Knock knock. Me. I am. I said knock knock. Me. Who is it? I am. OCD. Me. Who is it? I am. OCD. Me. Who? I am. Your obsessive compulsive disorder. Me. Oof. I don't know if the joke is bad or good. I am. The good thing is that he doesn't lie. Me. Do I have OCD? I am. Is there anyone who doesn't have one? Me. I guess it's something for everyone in different ways. What exactly is an OCD? I am. A disorder is a mental or emotional psychopathy that involves turning once I find myself on the other side, after. That is, that it cannot go straight as stipulated, that it goes against the current, and therefore it cannot fit within social harmony or collective behavior that is considered normal. Obsession comes from the word siege, that is, a thought that sits firmly in the mind and does not go away. It remains stabbing. And compulsive, basically, is that it repeats itself incessantly, since it is a constant pulse, like the beating of the heart. Thus, an obsessive-compulsive disorder can range from biting nails to not being able to step on lines on the ground in the street, and always having to walk on flat places because otherwise a person could die. Me. Can a person die? I am. Depending on the disorder, if the person does not do what their mind and emotion tell them, terrible things can happen. Me. I think now I remember an OCD that I had when I was a child, and even today it sometimes happens to me, although not so much anymore. When we were in a car and I looked out the window, I had to take a soft bite with my incisor teeth every time I passed a tree, as if counting them with the grinding of our teeth. I am. Luckily, there are no forests in the Argentine pampas, otherwise you would live at the dentist. Me. Haha, yes, I thought that many times. I think that since I lived in Europe that disorder disappeared. I remember that a friend, during college, had developed the OCD of having to close all the doors, windows and cupboards perfectly, and all of us, every time she got up to go to the bathroom, we would open everything for her and leave it halfway. She was desperate. Then she left. I think it was because of the stress of studying. A friend from school also had the OCD of telling jokes after each sentence. It made us laugh, but I realized that she did it to hide sadness. One day, laughing non-stop, I told him, "You don't need to make me laugh. I know you want to cry because of what happened to you." That broke him, and he started to cry. And then he didn't make jokes every 10 minutes. He made them every once in a while. But we could already talk. I am. What do they all have in common? Me. We were all nervous or sad. We were all stressed, under pressure, and we didn't know where to get it out. I am. The brain, as we have said, is an organism developed to store and interpret data. It seeks to order things to find harmony, symmetry, balance, and only then will it feel that it fulfills its function. When you hide something in the depths of the subconscious because of disgust, because of sadness, because you find yourself overwhelmed, when you cannot consciously process things and hide them in the shadows, all that energy that the brain has to solve the problem must be applied to something. Thus, the subconscious seeks reactions to order ideas, things, thoughts, situations, and in this way the tension ceases to be on the focus to be resolved and falls back on something banal, without any value, but that receives the weight of everything that lies inside. What did you feel when you counted trees with your teeth? Me. that it connected them. I felt that if I didn't do it to any of them, there were things that were left loose, like holes in a fabric. It made me desperate to think that they weren't all connected to that invisible network. I am. The pressure that you felt as a child with what your guides, teachers, and memories transmitted to you about reconnecting the network, the responsibility of making thousands of people listen to you, having to show yourself to the world, the questions of how you would achieve it, how to speak, how to face the embarrassment that the public gave you, manage to go to all those places in the world that seemed so far away. How to all of it? A 12-year-old boy couldn't process that much responsibility, so your brain quieted it down by counting and connecting trees with the teeth you would use to speak and show yourself to the world. Me. I've never seen it like this. Now it makes a lot of sense. So, it was myself trying to protect myself from pressure, from stress. I am. What your mind does is protect itself by creating a parallel reality in which to put all the focus. Remember that your body only cares about living and surviving. It doesn't care about your spiritual search or transcendence of being, because it was designed to protect itself from threats and to keep you alive as long as possible. And sometimes it should even protect itself from the truth. Well, an individual who grew up surrounded by lies will understand that they have been useful to stay alive, and therefore will find comfort and security in the lie, making the truth a threat that can bring chaos, destruction, discomfort. This is how the brain, the emotion, prefer to deny that reality and create a fiction, a lateral reality, through which the tension is released. Me. Wow, it's impressive. I am. All religion, culture, scientific thought, spirituality, philosophy, ideology are parallel realities created to cling to a sense of security based on more digestible lies. Me. But you just put science, a factual and objective study, in the same bag as religion. How is that? I am. Everything that is considered separate from the other is a parallel thought of survival. I did not say science, but scientific thought. We have talked about the void, the nothingness being the only thing that unites us all as one. The rest are only lateral projections. Me. I understand. So, the brain, the emotion, creates sensations and illusory ideas that release the tension of the conflict so as not to have to face a possible collapse of its defense system. I am. Exactly. Thus, the brain develops one of the most powerful psychological tools of lateral thinking. Me. Which one? I am. Humor. Me. Make you laugh? In other words, I interpret that creating a parallel reality at the cerebral level is, for example, making a joke about something uncomfortable. I am. It is a way to begin to understand humor from a current vision, yes. As we have been talking about, when faced with a tense or traumatic situation that involves too much effort on the part of the body to resolve, the brain looks for a different way to release the tension. Psychologically, this can be seen with jokes. Humor has different ramifications from the healthiest to the darkest, and all of them generate a different way of facing a reality that they are not willing to take as an absolute truth. Humor, being funny, is a way to relax, to release tensions in a rigid and tense environment. Me. Like when in a talk with a lot of information and tension about the topic to be discussed, the speaker makes a joke and the tension relaxes, making the information flow easier. I am. Humor creates a fictional reality that releases the pressure of bodies and minds. The cultures that have suffered the most, those that have been the most deceived, those that have gone through the most conflicts, have developed a greater degree of humor than the most resolute peoples in the average of their population, since it helps them to release constant tension by creating parallel realities, making them feel more comfortable in chaotic environments. For this reason, the Mediterranean, Caribbean, African peoples, and the Latin American areas tend to have a population with a higher degree of humor, while the peoples that more tied to the land in a sedentary way, such as indigenous peoples, Asians, or the cold order of the harsh winters of the northern countries, humor is harder and more closed, without going through the entire population as much. Me. This explains why when faced with painful or uncomfortable situations, many tend to look for humor to get out of the tension, and also why the great comedians are usually people who have suffered a lot. I am. Humor is an escape route to a brain and soul in constant tension. Me. But what about the humor they call black or dark? I mean, there are many kinds of humor: laughing at others, laughing at situations, laughing at oneself, laughing at tragedies, and humor often creates more problems than it solves, creating more tension. Something much debated today is the limits of humor. Is there a limit to humor? I am. No. The limit is established by morality, and morality is related to a social and community agreement. Humor is inherent to humans and cannot be prohibited by ideological law. Now, what happens today, the reason for debating the limits of humor, is due to the great amount of conflicts. The problems and tensions have ceased to be local for 10 years and have all become global. You could tell me that global conflicts have affected us all since colonialism in the 15th century, but the truth is that until the free circulation of internet on personal mobile devices, there was really no real globalization. Today, the collective problems are not only a possible war, but what Juanita told Pepito about his hair, and everyone can comment on it on Twitter and turn that into a conflict that affects millions. Overexposure to conflicts of all kinds makes the use of humor more exacerbated. If before a conflict generated 3 jokes, today it has 1 million conflicts generating 3 million jokes. All these parallel realities will reflect the way everyone's psyche is trying to defend itself. Me. Ugh. What chaos in something that seemed as simple as making people laugh. What is humor then? I am. Humor comes from the same root as human, wet earth. Me. Really? I am. Hummus, moist. The way how the wet earth became a joke is as follows. In the early days of Greek philosophy, Aristotle pointed out that all bodies were composed of the 4 elements. The human was born from the earth, from the chemical elements of it, but that at that time they could not understand. In turn, the water ran through its interior. All the ancient ideas said that the human was born from mud, between water and earth, molded by the gods. They had been given the fire that allowed the beating of their hearts, the soul, and their spirit in the air, the breathing. But later, the scholars of the human body, taking into account that the human was born from clay, divided the inner world of the body of man and woman into 4 different clays that they called chymos, or gymos, or yimos, meaning liquids. The Romans, they took this Greek idea and kept it, calling these 4 liquids as wetlands, moisture, differentiated as blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm. These were known as the 4 humors that make up the human. But later, in the expansion of the empire, the Dr. Galen affirmed the existence of a 5th humor, the quintessence, which he called pneuma, meaning breath, which gave rise to the concept attributed to the lung organ. Thus, breathing, from the Latin spirare, gave rise to the word spiritus, that is, the one who breathes the breath. Thus, the 5th humor would become an attribute of the soul, which in Greek you know as psyche, the origin of everything that today you call psychological. For this reason, humor became part of an attribute of the soul, when in fact the origin comes from the dark waters inside the body. Me. That's why you associate humor with Scorpio. I am, exactly, the deep waters of your body which contain the essence of your life, the ones that do everything to keep you alive. They are the ones that awaken the mood of your soul. Humor, then, is an attribute of survival, which you have to turn into a tool of awareness. The quintessence of your soul is taking poison and turning it into medicine. Me, this is how laughter feels. I am. From being an escape route to protect oneself, humor can save lives by freeing them from tensions. Laughter, grace, seek to escape from reality, from conflict. And the more you run from conflict, laughter, humor, will become a poison that will generate even more tension and conflict in a world like today's. But when you face conflict, you recognize that humor is key to an organic healing as well as spiritual liberation. Me, laugh humans, they told us on 11/11/2011 at the meeting of souls. The beings who spoke through me repeated it several times. Laugh humans. Now I understand. Today, on the day 101 of the alignment, the same code that those beings used that magical day, 11/11. The Erks code, which is 101, and their teachers telling us, laugh, laugh humans. Laugh humans and you will be free. I am. Having a good mood goes far beyond a good joke. Knock knock. Me. Who is it? I am. I am. Me. And the joke? I am. Do you see me with a humorous face? Me. Maybe it would be good for you to be a little wet from time to time. I am. I think I understood. Me. It's called a dirty joke, and it has nothing to do with the heart chakra. I am. Laugh, human. Me. Laugh with me, spirit.